Probably the first two dialogues written by Plato are the Apology and the Crito. Both these two dialogues have to do with the death of Socrates, with his trial. So they're written 2 or 3 years apart, and they're very near the death of Socrates. They're written at a time very near the death of Socrates. In the Apology, although the subject is the same, the approach is of a different nature than in the Crito. Let's see briefly why. In the Apology, Socrates proclaims his innocence. He is accused of doing something unjust, and he argues that what he's doing, his conduct, is not unjust. Philosophizing, examining himself and his fellow citizens, their conduct, his conduct, is abiding to the will of God. It's a command given by the God. So it is not unjust to carry out this divine mission. Besides the good that he does to the cities. In the Crito, Socrates receives an offer by Crito to escape from jail. And the dialogue shows how Socrates argues that it is unjust to escape from, that a citizen must abide to the law of the city given that certain circumstances are satisfied, and having said that the circumstances to obey the law of the city are satisfied, he will not escape. So these two dialogues have another aspect, another level. They raise issues which are still very important and discussed nowadays. And those issues have to do with the citizens and the relationship that they have with the law of the city. Specifically, the question of the ground for the obligation to obey the laws of one's country, including laws one might think unjust, the question of the priority of this obligation relative to other obligations one has, and the question of the justification of civil or disobedience or conscious refusal. So, as you see, the question is, what exactly are Socrates' arguments in the Crito to the conclusion that he ought not to escape from jail? Then, how does Socrates in the Apology view himself and his work in relation to his cities and its laws? And is there any inconsistency, his decision not to escape, with his readiness, which was present in the Apology, to engage in civil disobedience or consciousness refusal? So these two dialogues have something to do with our life nowadays, although they were written more than 2000 years ago. Which is the right, correct attitude that we as a citizen must have in relation to the laws of our cities, nowadays of our state? What is the correct relationship in a society between the individual citizen and the fellow citizen? The argument in those two dialogues are very stringent, very rigorous. It's worth to examine them to see how rationally one should approach this kind of issues. And this is what Socrates teaches us in those Platonic dialogues. Thank you. Until next time, have a good